Do you feel trapped, trying to change everything at once only to end up exhausted and further from your dreams than ever before? The idea that self-discipline requires colossal willpower, a constant battle against your own desires, is a myth that traps you in a cycle of frustration. If you've ever felt this way, you know this approach doesn't work. But what if the key to unshakable self-discipline isn't in brute force, but in a simple secret that few understand? What if the real obstacle to your evolution isn't a lack of effort, but the wrong strategy you're following, without even realizing it? Many men believe that discipline demands superhuman willpower, a titanic effort to change dozens of habits at once. The result? Frustration, burnout, and the feeling of being stuck, far from your greatest goals. Throughout my journey, I learned a fundamental truth. Unshakable self-discipline doesn't lie in complexity or brute force, but in the application of a master principle. A single simple action, when executed with consistency, has the power to organize everything else in your life. This video isn't just about being more disciplined. It's about forging the identity of a man who masters his own destiny. Do you remember that feeling? That wave of motivation that pushes you to revolutionize your life overnight. Maybe it was a new year, inspiring advice, or simply a deep weariness with your routine. You decide you're going to wake up at 5 a.m. every day, eliminate all sugars, read a book a week, learn a new language, meditate for 30 minutes, go to the gym daily, and of course be more patient with everyone around you. It sounds like the perfect plan, doesn't it? An infallible recipe for success and transformation. The problem is that for the vast majority of men, this plan disintegrates in a matter of days or at most weeks. You find yourself reverting to old habits, feeling overwhelming guilt and corrosive frustration. That initial momentum turns into a feeling of failure, a constant reminder that you are not disciplined enough. This is a subtle but powerful psychological trap. Our brain craves quick and immediate rewards. The promise of a radical transformation is tempting because it appeals to this desire for significant results in a short time. However, the reality of change is much more gradual, built on small daily victories. By trying to implement dozens of changes simultaneously, you are overloading your willpower, which is a limited resource like a cell phone's battery. Every little temptation resisted, every conscious effort consumes this energy. When you try to change everything at once, it's like trying to charge 10 devices at the same time with a single charger. Quickly, everything runs out of power, and you find yourself disconnected back at square one. This all-or-nothing approach creates a vicious cycle of emotional highs and lows. You feel like a hero when you manage to follow the plan for a day, but you feel like a pathetic failure when you stumble the next. This emotional roller coaster is exhausting and draining, stealing your energy and your belief in your own ability. It's like trying to build a sandcastle during high tide. All your effort is quickly washed away. You believe the problem is your lack of willpower, but the truth is the problem is the strategy you're using. You're trying to climb a mountain barefoot when what you really need is a good pair of boots. Self-discipline isn't about being a superhero who never fails. It's about having a smart system that works even when you're not at your best. True mastery comes from understanding that consistency in a single area can trigger a cascade of improvements in all others. The solution lies in a principle so simple it's often overlooked. The principle of singular focus, the mastery of one single thing. Tracy, in his decades of study and practice with thousands of successful individuals, identified that the most disciplined and accomplished men are not those who do everything perfectly, but those who identify the one action that, when consistently performed, has the greatest impact on their lives. This is your master lever, the leverage point that knocks down all the other dominoes. The key is to discover what that single action is for you right now. Think about your career. What is the most important skill you need to develop, or the most crucial task you must execute with excellence to advance? In your health, what is the most fundamental habit that, if established, would significantly improve your overall well-being? And in your finances, what is the most impactful financial discipline you can adopt now? The lack of focus on a single master principle is why many men feel overwhelmed and stagnant. They spread their energy and attention across too many areas, trying to keep 10 plates spinning in the air at once. The result is that no plate is managed well, and the feeling of failure sets in. Imagine an Olympic athlete trying to train for all disciplines at once: running, swimming, weightlifting, gymnastics. He would be mediocre in all of them. Instead, he specializes in a single discipline, dedicating all his energy and focus to becoming the best. That specialization and consistency is what leads him to the podium. Similarly, applying the principle of singular focus begins to generate change in surprising ways. By choosing one important action and committing to executing it every day, you start to build a sense of mastery. For example, if you identify that your number one priority right now is to organize your finances, your singular action might be to track every penny you spend in an app or a notebook every single day without fail. At first, this might seem tedious, but with consistency, you start to gain unprecedented clarity about where your money is going. That clarity alone often leads to more conscious decisions and a reduction in unnecessary spending. Without you having to generically strive to be more frugal, when you apply this principle, what happens is that this single action starts to create a ripple effect. By tracking your expenses, you naturally start thinking about where you can save. This saving can free up money to invest in a course to improve your career. The career improvement boosts your confidence and, consequently, your discipline in other areas like health. You realize you don't need superhuman willpower to change your life. You need a strategic starting point and the discipline to keep that point in motion. Focusing on a single action transforms self-discipline from an overwhelming burden into a powerful and manageable tool. The first principle, focusing on a single master action, is the foundation. It teaches us to direct our energy intelligently, avoiding the dispersion that leads to burnout. However, for this singular action to flourish and become a robust habit, we need a second crucial element, the mindset of continuous progress, not instant perfection. Many men sabotage themselves because they expect perfect results from day one. They stumble on one slip-up, fail to execute the action perfectly once, and immediately give up, labeling themselves as incapable. This all-or-nothing view is poison to self-discipline. The truth is that mastery is never instantaneous. It's a journey, built on a series of small advancements, and yes, it also includes stumbles. A truly disciplined man is not defined by his ability to never fail, but by his resilience in getting back up after every fall. He understands that every execution, even if imperfect, is a step forward. If your singular action is to track your expenses daily, and one day you forget to note a small purchase, it doesn't nullify all your progress. Instead of punishing himself, a man with a continuous progress mindset simply notes the purchase the next day, or makes sure not to forget again. This mindset shift is vital. It transforms self-discipline from a battle against yourself into a process of constant improvement. The most common excuses we hear are, "I failed today, so there's no point anymore," or "I'm not good at this. I'll never get it." These are limiting narratives that keep us trapped in a cycle of self-imposed failure. Think of a blacksmith shaping iron. He doesn't expect the metal to become a perfect sword on the first hammer strike. He heats, hammers, cools, hammers again, gradually shaping the piece. Every strike is a step toward the final form. In the same way, your singular action is your hammer, and your life is the metal. Accepting that there will be less productive days, days when the execution won't be perfect, is liberating. This doesn't mean complacency, but pragmatism. It means recognizing your own humanity and understanding that progress is rarely linear. By embracing this mindset of continuous progress, you strengthen your first master action. It becomes less about hitting an impossible standard and more about accumulating daily wins, no matter how small. This consistency, even with imperfections, is what truly builds unshakable self-discipline and ultimately forges the identity of a man who masters his own destiny. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be persistent and resilient. Singular focus gives you direction, and the continuous progress mindset gives you the resilience to get there. Now let's bring this powerful approach to a crucial aspect of your life, finances. Think about it. How is your relationship with money? Do you feel like it slips through your fingers, that you work hard but can never build solid wealth? Or worse, you live in the red with bills piling up and an uncertain financial future looming like a dark cloud? This anguish, this constant worry about money steals your peace of mind, affects your relationships, and drastically limits your potential in all other areas of life. The good news is that you can change this, and it doesn't take a financial miracle or superhuman skill with numbers. The change begins with applying the master principle we discussed, A single simple action, executed with consistency. What would that singular action be for your finances right now? It could be as simple as tracking every expense. Yes, just that. Get a notebook, an app on your phone, whatever is most accessible to you, and write down everything, every coffee, every bus ticket, every impulse buy. Do it religiously every day. What's the practical consequence of this? In a few days, you'll start to see patterns that were previously invisible. You'll discover where your money is really going, identifying superfluous expenses that drain your income without adding real value. This clarity is the first step to control. And what's the consequence of not doing this? The consequence is the continuation of financial stagnation. It's repeating the cycle of earning, spending, and worrying without ever getting anywhere. It's the loss of investment opportunities, the inability to plan for the future, whether for a peaceful retirement, your children's education, or the realization of a dream. It's living hostage to financial circumstances, feeling powerless against them. This lack of financial discipline doesn't just affect your bank account. It spreads. Worrying about money creates stress, which affects your physical and mental health. It can create friction in your relationships, whether with your spouse or your children, who feel the tension and deprivation. In your career, financial insecurity can prevent you from taking calculated risks, from pursuing that challenging project, or from asking for that deserved raise, for fear of losing what you already have. Now, imagine the transformation when you apply the singular action of consistently tracking your expenses with a mindset of continuous progress, not perfection. By identifying where the money goes, you naturally start making smarter choices. Maybe you cut back on food deliveries, freeing up an amount that was previously wasted. That saved money, if directed to a savings account, begins to grow. This small saving becomes the basis for a new singular action, investing that amount monthly. Suddenly, your money starts working for you. This newfound financial clarity and control radiate to other areas. You feel more confident, less stressed, with more energy to focus on your career and improve your relationships. You stop being a passive passenger in your financial life and become the driver, defining the destination. This is the urgency and personal relevance. Your life, your future, and your peace of mind depend on the actions you choose to take or not to take from now on. Discipline in a single financial action can be the trigger that unleashes your full potential. The journey of self-discipline, which began with identifying a single master action and adopting a mindset of continuous progress, now leads us to a higher level, the transformation of identity. It's no longer just about doing something different, but about becoming someone different. The fundamental question that echoes in our minds, and which defines the man you are destined to be, is not, "What do I need to do?" but "Who do I need to become?" This is the essence of unshakable self-discipline, the force that shapes your destiny in an authentic and lasting way. When you focus only on external actions, waking up earlier, eating better, saving money, you are treating the symptoms, not the root cause. True personal mastery lies in internal change, in reshaping your very being. You need to become the type of man who, naturally and without excessive effort, performs the actions that lead him to his goals. This means cultivating the intrinsic qualities that sustain discipline: integrity, responsibility, resilience, clarity of purpose, and a deep self-confidence. Imagine a master craftsman. He doesn't just think about how to polish the wood or how to fit the pieces. He is the craftsman. His identity is intrinsically linked to his art. His skill is not something he does, but something he is. In the same way, you need to become the disciplined man, the responsible man, the reliable man, the man who keeps his promises, first to himself and then to others. This means embedding these values in every decision, in every interaction, in every moment of your day. This identity shift doesn't happen overnight, just like the transformation of wood into a work of art. It is built through consistency in your singular action. Yes, but now with a deeper intention. Every time you choose to track your expenses, you're not just recording numbers. You are becoming the financially organized man. Every time you dedicate yourself to your singular health action, you become the man who cares for his body like a temple. Every time you prioritize your singular career action, you become the dedicated and competent professional you aspire to be. This is the phase where self-discipline ceases to be a struggle and becomes a natural expression of who you are. You are no longer trying to force yourself to do something. You are living as the person who has already embodied these habits and values. External motivation becomes secondary, as the driving force now emanates from within. From your own transformed identity, you become a man who does not give up easily, who learns from mistakes without dwelling on them, who takes full responsibility for his life and his results. This is true freedom, not being a slave to unwanted habits, but being the conscious master of your own nature. Your identity is the fertile ground where unshakable self-discipline flourishes, and you, by becoming this man, reap the fruits of a life of purpose, fulfillment, and mastery. We have reached the pinnacle of our journey, the inflection point where knowledge merges with action to forge a destiny of mastery. You have contemplated the trap of overload, the fallacy of superhuman willpower, and discovered the age-old secret, the transformative power of a single action executed with an unwavering purpose. Now is the time to ascend beyond mere technique, to transcend individual practice and embrace wisdom as a universal principle that governs the very fabric of existence. Self-discipline is not just a set of habits to be acquired, it is the purest reflection of human freedom, the ability to shape external reality through sovereignty over the inner universe. It is the art of being the architects of ourselves, the sculptors of our souls. This is not a formula for a more organized life, but a call for the radical reinvention of the self. It is the understanding that every man carries within him the latent potential of a titan, an individual capable of building empires, of overcoming unimaginable adversity, of manifesting his noblest ideals. This capacity, however, is not a gift bestowed upon a few, but a flame that burns in everyone, waiting to be fueled by the spark of responsibility and the consistency of a single, powerful action. It is the acceptance that external circumstances are mere reflections of our internal decisions, and that true change germinates in the fertile soil of self-transformation. Therefore, raise your spirits. Do not settle for mediocrity, for a life lived in shades of grey. Choose your master action, the one that resonates with the deepest truth of your desires, and dedicate yourself to it with the ferocity of a lion and the delicacy of an artist. Let each act of execution be a declaration of independence, a vote of confidence in your own limitless ability. Take full responsibility for who you are and what you will become. The past is a closed book, the future is a blank scroll, and the power to write your story lies in your ability to act here and now. The time is now. The power is yours. Unleash your inner giant.